Good morning, Mark. Want to give you an update on your engine. We've been through it, and we've done all the testing we could do from the outside, and we have a diagnosis. So there was a couple of different issues with your engine. We'll go through it. Okay. So we did a compression test first. We wanted to make sure that we weren't going to damage anything if we ran it. We had 130 pounds on cylinder number one, then 140 on two, 70 on three and four, and 100 pounds on five, and a 135 on six. So normally your compression needs to be within 15 pounds from cylinder, 10%. So 14 pounds from cylinder to cylinder. So we met those requirements except for 3, 4, and 5. All right. So the two things that it could be is head gasket and valves. You could have valves that weren't being completely shut, and that'll eventually lead to a burnt valve. But if you have valves that aren't completely shutting, then that's the other thing that can affect your compression. So the next thing we did is we went down here to the valves, and we found several cylinders. What you'll see, they're supposed to have 17 thousandths of clearance, and here's a 17 thousandths feeler gauge between the valve stem, the end of the valve stem, and the here we go, the end of the valve stem and the lifter. And this is adjustable right here. And all of these were touching. So with the exceptions of the very front two valves, which are very difficult to get to and adjust. So somebody didn't adjust those, and somebody adjusted the rest of them, and there was no gap between the lifter and the stem, which prevents the valve from going completely closed. The spring action actually is what closes the valves. So after adjusting the valves yesterday, and you'll notice we took the engine out of the boat because it took me a half hour to try to adjust one valve, and laying in the boat kind of upside down, laying on it, trying to work, and with very little room. So we just took it out to save time. So anyway, so the next thing was that we ran another compression test. Oh, and here are the results. 130 on the front, 140, and then remember 5 was 100 pounds. It's up to 140, and 6 is now up from 135 to 140. So that means that our valve adjustments had an effect on number 5 and number 6. So what it didn't have any effect on these two cylinders here, even though we found they weren't completely closing. The valves weren't. So the next test that I devised was to put some air closed with the valves closed on number 3, put some air on number 3, and see if we get air out on number 4, which I was 99% sure we would. And watch. So we're getting air out of number 4. The other thing that we had already done too, and I failed to mention, was before we went to the valves, we did tighten the head. Most of the fasteners, most of the nuts that are internal were to the pattern were loose. Less than 20 foot-pounds, and they're supposed to be 40 foot-pounds. Most of the outside ones, but not all of the outside ones, were tight. Probably 30% of the outside ones were loose, and probably 90% of the inside ones were loose. So the indication would be that somebody had removed the head at one point in time, because when that gets done and a new gasket put in, of course we don't even know that a new gasket was put in. I don't know that the head was removed. I mean, it is possible that this is just loosened up over time, but it's not likely. It's more likely that the head had been removed, maybe for inspection. I don't know. I'm purely speculating. I do know that when the head's removed, we're going to have to remove the head, and we're going to have to change the head gasket. And once we do that, we have to torque this engine every time the boat's used until nothing moves anymore, until basically you go through the torque sequence And once none of the nuts move anymore, then you're done. You'll actually have movement each time you go through the sequence. You'll have movement on a lesser number of fasteners, but you'll have movement on one or two fasteners all the way down to like the fifth or sixth time that you torque it. So that's just a standard situation on a flathead engine, that's what leads me to believe that the cylinder head had been removed at one point in time. So we've got the valves adjusted. They were wrong. Every one of them was wrong except for two, and those were ones that were difficult to adjust. The cylinder head needs to be taken off and the gasket replaced. And other than that, your engine's just fine. Oh, one other test we did run the engine. We wanted to hear what it sounded like because you had noted that the exhaust sounded different. And when we ran the engine, we ran it once with all the spark plug wires on, and we ran it again with these two spark plug wires missing because you only had 70 pounds compression. So it's unlikely that we were even getting any explosion in these two cylinders. And we kind of proved that out by pulling the spark plug wires off, and we got no difference in the sound of the engine. So you were running on 4 cylinders. So that's pretty much the whole shooting match. I'll put a price together on what it's going to take to finish it up, put it back in. But we're proceeding with it because otherwise all you really have here is a boat anchor if we don't change the head gasket. All right, talk to you later. Thank you.